بارك الله فيك شيخنا حياكم الله بكرة إن شاء الله حياكم الله في أمان الله وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله تفضل
OS from Colombia. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. May Allah preserve you. How does one get rid of a large amount of dried najasa on the floor? For example, if a child has urinated on parts of the floor, whereas a dried person doesn't know the exact part.
Question says, and comes from Columbia, Missouri, how does a person get rid of a large amount of najasa on the floor, such as a child who has urinated and you may not know exactly where or how much, etc. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. The correct view is that it is permissible to remove najasa with any matter, substance, or agent, whether it's water, dirt, a chemical, etc. So whatever is used to remove it, in which the najasa is no longer there, then that is sufficient. Obviously, removing najasa, especially when it isn't on the human body, is going to go back to a person's time and culture, where we come from. Would a janitor put water on the floor? Or would a janitor go get dirt from outside? Not necessarily. Whether you use cat litter first. Remember back in the day in school, someone spit up, the janitor would do what? Remember that? Take you back. Put a cat litter down. Then easily what? Scoop it right up. Or you use, it may be too young for you after the Qib. You may have an app for that. Virtual najasa. In 2018. 2000 babies. Al-Muhim. All jokes aside. Whatever chemical you use, a mop, ammonia or whatever, pine sol, even that's maybe old-fashioned nowadays. Lysol, whatever is used until the najasa is no longer what? There. All right, that's firstly. Secondly is the different levels and concepts of removing najasa. Removing the essence of the najasa, ainun najasa, that is no longer there. But now we also have the concept of bacteria, germs, and a concept of a surface. Something that you plan to sit on again, or something that you plan to eat from or use or whatever the case may be. That has to be taken into consideration what? As well. But removing the najasa is not necessarily the ibadah itself. Min bab turuk. It's not like making wudu. It's a difference. So therefore you can use any substance as long as it removes the najasa. And Allah knows best.
I think one in UK has to explain to someone it's allowed to pray in shoes whilst showing the hadith. What's the ruling on someone rejecting the hadith of the normal about praying in shoes?
The question comes from Sheffield, you said?
London, UK.
London. How do you explain to someone that it's permissible to pray wearing shoes? And what happens if someone rejects a hadith of a companion narrating that the Prophet prayed in shoes? Well, there's a general simplified way of answering the question, and that is to tell him. The Prophet ﷺ says, لِيُبَلِّغِ الشَّاهِدُ مِنْكُمُ الْغَائِبِ. He says, let he who's here tell he who isn't here. Simple. This is a hadith. This is authentic according to the scholars of hadith. Khalas. You don't have to argue and explain and sympathize and rub the person's back and drink a cup of hot cocoa with them with marshmallows. That's it. I've done my job. This is what the Prophet ﷺ says. This is hadith according to what I've learned. Khalas. Done. If he takes it, alhamdulillah. If he doesn't take it, what? Alhamdulillah. It's just that simple. As far as the detailed way, then it depends on what you want out of the person. You want them to be guided, of course. You want them to implement the sunnah. And you want them to stop talking ignorantly. Get off the rug with your shoes. It's haram to pray with the shoes. A'udhu billah. You can't come in here with shoes. You want the person to benefit and to learn. You have a relationship with this person. It may be a business partner or an employee or an employer. Or your family member. Sit down with them and explain to them in brief, in a humble way, the importance of Islam and what Islam is. Everyone understand this? Islam is manifested in nothing other than what Muhammad ﷺ did and said and allowed. The Sunnah. And this is what the Quran says about the Hadiths. This is what the Quran says about the Sunnah. This is what Allah says about Muhammad and his status and his virtue and his job and his duty. And we are to take whatever Muhammad gives us. And from that which he gave us is to pray in our shoes. From that which he gave us is that he prayed in his shoes. From that which he gave us is convenience and efficiency. Convenience and what? Efficiency. Imagine how convenient and efficient it would be for brothers who drive cabs to pray in their shoes. They come in with wudu, they make the salah, they go right back outside. Taking off your shoes, your feet getting wet because there's snow and ice outside, your shoes getting stolen, your shoes getting misplaced, your shoes getting stepped on. Think how easy and simple things would be. Everyone understand this? Efficiency, let alone the actual spiritual virtue of not being like the Jews and the Christians who don't pray in their shoes and their khufs, as was mentioned in the Prophet ﷺ's hadith. So you explain to them if you can, if they're willing. As far as if they're closed-minded, if they're narrow-minded, if they're stubborn, if they have a full bottle, not a cup, but a what? A bottle, or overflowing barrel of information. Jazakallah khairan, shukran. Have a great day. But avoid forcing the sunnah on them. Do not pray with your shoes in a place in which everyone is going to look down upon you and talk about you and accuse you of being an extreme, ignorant Wahhabi fundamentalist. That's just not from wisdom. It is not obligatory to pray in shoes. Just as the Prophet prayed in shoes, he also prayed what? Without shoes. So use wisdom, but oftentimes, as I said, wisdom turns into cowardice or fear of shame and embarrassment. And just sometimes the ignorant people, they win by us being quiet and compromising. But compromising. And you don't have to. The carpets in the masjid, Islam doesn't command us to waste wealth. That sounds good and fine and peachy. But what is more important, the general things or the specific things in the deen? The Prophet has forbade us, he says, وَنَهَا عَنْ إِضَاعَةِ الْمَالِ, to waste money. Praying with the shoes on the carpet will lead to the destruction of the carpet. It wastes money. That's general. And then we have a specific, authentic sunnah. The Prophet did what? Prayed in his shoes. So how can we take that which is general and make that the dominant factor over that which is what? Specific. Or they say, brothers don't know the etiquette of wiping off their shoes. They don't know etiquette of cleaning their shoes. They'll do this. They'll go into the bathroom. Teach them. Teach them. Educate them. And do not allow the people to remain ignoramuses for 20 years. Educate them. Give them a class. Give them a khutbah. Everyone understand this? But if we just submit and lay down our arms and let the ignoramuses rule the world, what will happen in 20 years? No, we have to break it. We have to do what? We have to break it. Slowly, with wisdom, with strong knowledge. But eventually there has to be a what? The snapping of the branch. Has to be. Someone whose bone is broken, you have to do what? Put it back in what? In place. It has to be pain. Everything is not gentle and soft. Snap, crack. It has to be. So the sunnah is not meant to be dominated. It's not meant to be taken over and conquered by ignorance. But, of course, there's wisdom. You have to be progressive. You have to take your time. You have to be mindful of the masalih and the mafasid, right? But the bottom line is, it's the sunnah to pray in your shoes and your khufs. That's the sunnah. Also, last but not least, the last thing that I'll say is oftentimes people, they say that the masjid would become dirty and filthy and full of najasa if the people pray with their shoes. Okay, tayyib, labas. Maybe, mumkin. But what happens when people bring their shoes inside the masjid and put them on the shoe racks that are between the rows? Are they checking their shoes? Are they cleaning their shoes? How much najasa and filth is now brought where? Into the masjid. You ever think about that? So keeping the people conscious of looking at their shoes, or having them just take them off. You don't have to look at them because you're not going to pray in them. You understand? Let alone people stealing your shoes. How many people's shoes have been stolen in the Prophet's masjid? Overseas. Third world countries. You can't pray. You have to have your shoes in front of you because people are going to what? Steal your shoes, right? Take your wallabies. That happened before. Huh? And do they know about wallabies? Over there, obviously, what? They obviously do. They took them. Huh? Everyone understand this? So that's what I was saying. Allah knows best.
HS from Toronto, Canada. A woman can no longer distinguish the difference between her normal cycle time and prolonged. Can she continue to pray while unsure when the real cycle of her seasons?
Right. Question comes from Toronto. With regards to a sister who can no longer distinguish between her normal cycle and the abnormal cycle, etc., can she still pray, etc.? The scholars of Islam, they say in brief that a woman who cannot distinguish herself, or the three main stages. Number one is one who has a normal cycle, the beginning of each month for 5 days. If she doesn't have that, then she has the ability to distinguish with regards to the other things, whether it's the blood or other than the blood. Some people, they say that blood has no smell. Some people say that menstrual blood doesn't have a smell, but it is the, whether they say bacteria or the secretions or whatever, that cause the blood to smell. Al-Muhim, one way or another, when a woman is bleeding, there's some type of smell. Whether it's because of this, because of that, in simplified terms. Or her stomach hurts, her abdomen hurts, her back hurts, she's emotionally imbalanced, whatever the case may be. And when she knows and feels that I'm on my period right now. And if she doesn't have that and the blood is just pouring and it's all the same, then she is to go back to the custom of her family members. Her mother, her sister, her daughter, her aunt. All right? How long do they normally menstruate for? What is, in most cases, the people who share her flesh and blood, her DNA, and how long they menstruate, and then base the constant bleeding based off of them. So once she finds out that it's the beginning of each month, or she makes it the beginning of each month based off of her mother and her sister, and she's continually bleeding after that, she is to pray and do anything else that a pure woman is to what? Do. And Allah Azza wa Jalla knows best. That's in brief.
Abu Ibrahim from Arlington, Virginia. What's the ruling of praying nafil while driving a car?
Arlington, Virginia says, what's the rule on praying nafil while driving a car? It depends where you are. If you're somewhere remote and you're driving at a slow speed and you're a skilled driver and it's a quick nafilah, something simple, perhaps, la bas, inshallah. As far as in traffic, stop and go, or you have to go fast, or it's dangerous outside, or you're not a skilled driver, we say what? Safety comes first. And Allah surely knows best. Some brothers are very good drivers. One brother, he told me, a blessed brother, he said, I've been driving so long, I'm such a skilled and experienced driver. He says, I can go to sleep at one exit and wake up 3 exits later. And there's only one thing that keeps me driving. I won't mention what he said, which is keeps him driving. So he says, I could be at exit 11 and wake up at exit 14 or 15 by the barakah of Allah. Huh? MashaAllah. Allah's name be praised. Next question. From where? Tayyib. We don't know everything. Fadl. Fadl.
What advice would you give to someone who wants to use online Muslim dating sites / apps to find a partner?
Question comes from NY, Canada, right? What advice would you give to someone who's going to use an online matrimonial service? Where's Abdul Qawi at tonight? We need him here for this question. At the end of the day, I would say humbly, and most importantly, realistically, like keeping it real, being honest, all right? As we said before, many people, they demonize these sites. Muslima, Quran, this, that, beautifulzoja.com, who's Muzmatch, whatever name they have, right? Whatever name they have, huh? Beautifulzoja.com. Huh? Don't Google it when you leave the masjid, akhi. Huh? Only Allah knows. Secondwife.com, Allah al-Mustan. At the end of the day, many people, they talk about these websites. They say these websites are nasty, they're dirty. There are women on there showing their faces, showing their bodies. There are men acting like they're women. There are dogs and wolves and coyotes on there looking for quick meat. So there's people, they say this. It's haram, it's this and it's that. Say it. Say it. Maybe. Can't deny the fact there are a lot of people out there on those sites looking for scams. Send me money. I want to send you my pictures, but my phone is broken, so send me money and I'll get a new phone. Huh? Or I don't have Skype on this computer. Send me money and I'll Skype you. Huh? All types of things. All right? This is reality. Okay, people on there playing around, and as it clearly says, it's a dating service. They told you from day one that the thing was a what? Dating. You wanted to translate dating into what? Sunnah Zawaj. Whose fault is that? I don't understand this. So, with all that being said, why have these sites gained popularity and notoriety? Why have these sites become so viral? Why are so many people on those sites? Except because the original orthodox conventional way of marriage has failed. It's failed. The people are stuck in Jahiliyyah. You can't marry no one who's older than you or younger than you. or who's lighter than you, or darker than you, or taller than you, or bigger than you, or heavier than you. You can't marry no one from another country. You can't marry no one from this border. You can't. He has to be a doctor. He has to memorize Sahih Bukhari. He has to have $1 million in his bank account. He has to. All of these different things have blocked a lot of people from getting married. And people become frustrated. And they become, they've lost hope. They've despaired. Yani? So they resort to that which will work for them. So instead of talking about the websites and how bad they are, how about you reevaluate yourself? As a father, how is it possible for a man to have 3 and 4 daughters in his house? How is that even healthy? Islamically and mentally, you have a grown woman sleeping, eating, washing up in your house. 2, 3 grown women. Is that even proper Islamically? The hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, "Man ala jariyataini hatta tablugha." Hadith Anas radiallahu anhu. He who raises 2 girls until they're of age will be like this with me in paradise. The hadith says until they what? Of age. Meaning you're supposed to take care of the girls until they're what? After that, khalas. They're not supposed to be under your guardianship. They're supposed to be married off with someone else looking after them. Everyone understand this? So where does this concept come from? Of no one can marry my daughter. No one's good enough for my daughter. No one's worthy of my daughter. And then what type of problems ensue and happen when you have all of those girls living in a house with their brothers and they're grown women and grown men. They're no longer boys and girls anymore. Curiosity and fahisha and shaitan. Then there's incest and there's molestation and rape and all types of fahisha that takes place. Because that is not the natural Islamic system. That's not the what? Natural Islamic system. Your daughter is 25 years old, 30 years old. Your son is 19, 20. Why is he not married yet? What are you waiting for them to get married? What's holding you up? Your son is a grown man. And he goes to work, goes to school, goes to the gym, comes home, and he has no wife. He's not looking for a wife. He's not attempting. He's just living. Something is what? Oftentimes what? Wrong. Something is oftentimes wrong. So oftentimes the parents are at fault. Sometimes the children are at fault, but we're talking about the parents right now. Our arrows right now are what? Are aimed on the parents. That's the only people we're shooting at right now. The parents. And also the imams and the leaders and the scholars of the communities who talk about the websites, but they themselves don't put effort to marry off their children. They don't give a khutbah about jahiliyyah. Oh, we're not saying that they can't get married because it's a different race, but you know, maybe. No, that's not true. The only reason why you're not letting your daughter marry this one, or marry your son marry his daughter, is because of what? Because of race. Keep it real. Keep it 100. Let's be honest. You don't want no mixed baby. You don't want no mixed grandchildren. You can't stand the sight of this brother from wherever he comes from marrying your tender, precious daughter. That's the bottom line. So therefore, your daughter, she has sexual desires. She's lonely. She wants to be with someone. She wants to be taken care of. She wants to be loved. She wants to go to a conference. She wants to be a Muslim wife. She's going to go somewhere else and find that. But the sight is evil, and it's haram, and it's kether and kether. But your system is what? Sunnah. Your system of marrying your daughter, that's the right way, right? So oftentimes we're struck by hypocrisy. And we just are afraid to look in the mirror and blame ourselves for failing. The system is perfect. But we who use the system are utterly imperfect. So before we even start dogging out the websites, we need to dog out ourselves. Everyone understand this? And evaluate ourselves. What have I done for my son to get married? Have I taught him how to be a man? Have I instilled in him honor, responsibility from day one? Have I taught my son how to save money, to have a driver's license, to have an apartment, to this? Have I given him these skills of life? Or is he just a loser and a bum who plays video games all day and that's it? A couch potato. My daughter, she can't cook an egg. She can't make a pot of instant coffee. She doesn't know anything about treating a husband or serving a husband or being an obedient wife. Whose fault is that? Hers or mine's? It's my fault. Everyone understand this? So that's my first thing. The first thing that I want to say with regards to these websites is for us to cut the crap and stop being hypocritical and dogging the websites, but not looking at what? As people. And marrying and making sure that our young Muslim sons and daughters do what? Get married. And making it available for the people to do what? To get married. In a proper sunnah way. That's first and foremost. Secondly is, if you can't do it the normal way, Because it's best to do it the normal way without going online. It's best. But if you can't find, and it's very difficult, and you're very frustrated, go on those sites seeking Allah's help, and seeking Allah's refuge, Allah's protection, and make sure that you have a clear-cut agenda. A clear-cut agenda. And don't be on that website just floating around. I'm looking for a sister. I'm looking for a brother. Or he's cute. Or she's pretty. Or she got a nice body. Or this or that. You got to have an agenda. I'm looking for a wife of this age, of this build, of this nationality, of kada. These are the musts. And other than that, I have the things that I'm flexible with. She can't be older than this age, but if she's shorter than that, no problem. She can't have children, but if she's of this age, no problem. Why can that? You have the things, your arkan, that have to be there. Arkan on Islam, right? Things that what? Must be there. Your pillars of Iman, that what? Must be there. Then you have other things which are what? Recommended. I'm willing to forsake this if the sister has what? That. She's very, very, very knowledgeable and pious, and she's not the most beautiful. I'll marry her. You understand this? She looks for a husband. He's financially stable, but he's not the most attractive man. I'd rather have a husband that's financially stable. Why? You got to have an agenda, and you have to have the responsibility of going in and going out. Like the souk. You don't just go around the souk and just hang out all day and go from store to store and just hop from store to store and you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the marketplace. We're going in there to what? Cop this. It's about this. If they have a better price, kada, and that's it. We out. We're not just lingering around. So many people, they go on Muslimah or they go on these other websites and they linger. They don't have an agenda. They're not serious. They play games. Another very important piece of advice is to have sabr. You got to have patience. Don't think you're just going to find your knight in shining armor from 1 month of subscription. Understand this? It may take you some time to find a good brother. It may take you some time to find a suitable sister. How much patience do you what? Do you have? Last but not least is, don't be fooled by your desires. She's very beautiful. She's very pretty. But what type of wife do you think you're getting who has her hair out and a fitting shirt for everybody to see in public? What type of religion you think she has? She's going to magically put on a hijab and niqab and abaya as soon as she marries you with a big beard? And you think that's going to work? Or you have a brother on there and he has some type of crazy muscle shirt? Some tight pants? You think he's going to be your sunnah, salafi, knight in shining armor? As soon as you marry him and straighten him out, or however you're going to straighten, you think, many people, they think like this. And they're fools. You get married, and the sister, she leaves the house with the lipstick on, or the tight khimar, or the tight ibaya, and she says, I was never that religious. And you what? You knew that. You married me because of my beauty. So I don't feel like covering my face. Or don't get upset if I smoke a cigarette with my niqab flipped up. You knew I liked what? Smoking what? Marlboros. 4 times. You told me that it was haram, but I still like what? Smoking cigarettes. What heck is that? And any other example, you must find compatibility from day one, but do not be too picky. Don't be what? Don't be too picky. Because if you had 1,000 options and choices, then you wouldn't what? You wouldn't be on Quran.com. Everyone understand this? So these are some basic principles, and perhaps a lecture needs to be done just on the fiqh of Muslim matrimonials. No doubt, it's long overdue. Because that's why we need Abdul Qabi here. The brothers, they act pious and righteous, but in reality, they what? They have 2 or 3 different accounts on Muslimah with different names and locations and different profile pics. Abu Abdullah, Abdullah, Abu Abdurrahman. It's all one what? One brother. Everyone understand this? This is a reality. This is a what? This is a reality, unfortunately. So these are some basic general principles. Last but not least, the ruling of showing your face. Is it permissible to show your face or not? That's a long discussion in itself. Just be careful, use discretion, seek Allah's help, and most importantly, have an agenda. And you got to be mature. You have to be there for a purpose and for a reason, and not just to get girls or get guys, right? With Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all success. Khalas.